Today on the channel, top 5 Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon action figures. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel as we continue our weekly top 5 series. And today we're doing the top 5 Vince McMahon figures between all lines, all collections, you name it, just like we normally do it here on the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and your first time to the top 5 list, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the old notification bell, as every Thursday I will be launching a new top 5. We've already done a few of them out there, and every milestone subscriber milestone on YouTube, we're going to do a top 10 special. We just did the Macho Man top 10 a couple weeks back, so check out that one. We've done a few of them out there. The Big Show, we're doing, of course, Vince McMahon today. And we got many, many more to come. So make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss one of these top 5 lists. And these are truly my top 5 Vince McMahon figures of all time. Like usual, take note of the video. Give me your top 5 in the comments below. And this is a lot tougher. This is one of the tougher videos actually to do, because at first you think of a few favorites like anything else, but it's amazing. We've gotten a lot of Vince McMahon figures over the years. We've had some really good ones. We've had some really bad ones. We've had a few in between, but these are my top 5. Like I said before, these are the ones that resonate with me. I always talk about, you close your eyes and think of their figure, whoever we're talking about. And that's what you got to come up with. That's your top 1 probably, if that's the one you think of. But I've got some sleepers in here I think that might surprise a few of you, and maybe won't surprise some of you guys. And I'm sure we'll have some crossovers in our list as well. And I'm sure I'll have some stuff on this list that you guys will say, well, you really missed this one. But believe me, I went through them all. I went through my entire collection, and I think I very well have every single Vince McMahon figure outside of a couple of repainted BCAs, and I'll be on the lookout for those. And I figured, too, at the top here, we usually just do the top 5, but I had one special edition I wanted to talk about, and this is probably the best chance to do it. It makes the most sense. So I figured we'd throw it up right here at the beginning. We'll call this number 6, but not really. But one of the most interesting figures of all time, back in the Jax BCA days, you know, we were all excited to get a Mr. McMahon figure back in the day. We had the Jax, one where he was the announcer, very skinny, from the ringside crew one. That really didn't feed the need for us with the Stone Cold Mania and stuff that was going on. And they fixed that very quickly, as we got a few wrestling gear Vince McMahons over the years. But this one always just is so absurd and so strange. Vince McMahon looking like a mobster with a huge big suit, huge big body. Just crazy. But it's like business in the front, party in the back. Look at that. So they don't complete the suit. I don't know how hard it would have been to clamp on another one. I mean, we've seen it with Happy Meal toys, stuff like that. But he truly is business in the front, party in the back with this one. And you just easily remove the suit. You just pull it off. There's the top and the bottom. And you got ring gear Vince right there. But how weird is this figure? And I wonder why in the toy designing world they said, you know what, we don't need to fill the back out. Nobody's going to care. Just put the front of the suit. Just one of the strangest figures of all time, this Vince McMahon one. And you know, you look at it, you say, yeah, I think that's Vince McMahon. It's a little bit off, but a lot of Bone Crunchers were a little bit off. Some were a lot off. Probably the worst figure of all time is the Stone Cold Bone Cruncher, and we'll probably do a video on that one day as well. But this Vince McMahon is so weird, I just had to mention it. As I was going through, trying to find my top 5, looking through all my Vince McMahon figures, that one stuck out, and I said, you know, I want to put it in my top 5 just because it's weird, but I figured we'd do a little talk about it at the beginning. But now we got that out of the way. We got you guys all subscribed with the notification bell on and all that kind of fun stuff. Now we get down to it. Let's get into the top 5. All right, coming in at number 5 is one you guys know is near and dear to my heart. We do videos about him every single Tuesday, and we're talking about Jax Classic Superstars. We're talking more specifically Jax Classic Superstars Series 16 Vince McMahon. This represents his old school mic work, his old school announcing days. I love this figure when it came out. I love this figure still to this day. Represents a younger Vince before, you know, everybody just thought of him as an announcer. Vince, say what you want about his announcing, but if you grew up listening to it, you absolutely loved it. It was just, he was a great announcer. I'll stick with it. It's just so funny, and it's probably because of my age, but all those guys from the 80s are right there at the top of my list. I mean, my favorite announcers in no particular order, definitely Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse Ventura, of course, Gordon Soley, Lance Russell, And Bob Caudle, very, very good. I love Bob Caudle. I love Gordon Solie. I love Lance Russell. I know they're not as well known as the Bobbies, Gorillas, and stuff, but those guys are the ones I just really love. And Vince is right in there. He got it over. I just love the stuff he said. He just said some crazy stuff. And the 1, 2, 3, oh, it's over. And he'd be ready to celebrate. Oh, no, he kicked out. I'll never forget that one. That was always his patented call. I always chuckled at, even as a little kid, and I still do now. But Classic Superstar is one of my favorite lines of all time. I was so happy to get this Vince in the line. This was one thing that we needed. We needed announcers. We needed that. And that's what the Jax Classic Superstars line brought us. They brought us Howard Finkel. They brought us, managers. They brought us Vince McMahon, Jim Ross. All the characters we really wanted out there. They really flushed out everything. And it sounds like AEW, the Unrivaled series, will be doing a lot of that as well in the future. So be ready for that. But this Vince is pretty cool. I mean, it's Vince in his suit. I remember hoping for the iconic red suit to match the LJN back in the day. They went a different direction with the blue pants and the gray and the blue tie. So that was a little misdirection there. I think I would have preferred it in the red. I'm surprised they didn't do some kind of exclusive one in the red, just because it was so iconic. So late 70s, early 80s, that blazer and all that kind of stuff he used to wear. But this is a very solid one. This one is very reminiscent of the recent Mattel one from, 15 series ago or so. I'll tell you guys, that Mattel one where he's an announcer, that flashback Vince announcer, didn't make the list. Cool figure, comes with a little stage, podium for him to stand on and interview people, but there's just something about that head sculpt that's just a little bit off for me, and then the massive hands on there. And it sounds like we did just find out at San Diego Comic-Con, Mattel announced a Build-A-Figure Vince McMahon from WrestleMania 3 in a tuxedo. It looks like they're using that exact same head, so I'll definitely be picking that up. That's a pretty iconic one. That'll be a great one for customs as well, as you can put different heads on that. But that Vince just doesn't hit the mark for me. The Mattel one that we had in the 70s, 71, I don't know if that was right, but this one does work. And yes, there is a little bit off in the head scan, maybe just a little. I can't picture what it is, but it definitely looks like Vince. You get the microphone, you get the headset, you get the WWE logo on the jacket. This is pretty solid if you ask me, guys. And that is why he comes in at number 5, Jax Classic Superstars, Series 16, Vince McMahon. Number 4 is a bit of a forgotten figure. A lot of people forget about this one when you're completing your checklist, and there is some arguments out there. Is this a Mattel Basic or is this a Mattel Elite? I view this as an Elite, but I guess technically it really is a Basic. But in my mind, when I think of it, it is an Elite. It is on a Basic type carding out there. But it was the Toys R Us exclusive Mr. McMahon figure. I don't know if any of you guys remember this figure, but it was available at Toys R Us. I remember certain stores, there's about 4 Toys R Us I hit on a fairly reasonable amount of time. I remember seeing this in some of the stores and some of the stores not at all. But I think this was a decent peg warmer over time. And I always do get this one a little bit confused with that Triple H in a suit as well. That was a Toys R Us exclusive, but that might have been a mail-away offer. I get a bit confused every once in a while, but this Vince is really good. This is a nice 10 years ago, something like that, kind of Ruthless Aggression era, a little later Ruthless Aggression era Vince McMahon in a suit figure. It's not quite the younger version. This is a really good in-between version of Vince, and I think a lot of collectors out there would love to have an updated one of this, and you can easily update this and put this in a line. Suited figure, change the color of the suit, change the tie color, and bam, you got a new Mr. McMahon out there. But a bit of a sleeper in the Mattel space out there, and a forgotten Vince McMahon figure. We've had more Vince McMahon figures, not just talking about Mattel, but all lines. When you think Vince McMahon, you think, oh yeah, he's probably got 4 or 5 figures. He's got like 20-some figures. He's got a lot of figures out there, and like I said, from every line under the sun almost. So Vince McMahon, no stranger to figures, and like I said, this Mattel one, coming in at number 4 for me, is the Toys R Us exclusive Vince McMahon from Mattel. All right, we're coming in at number 3, and this is one figure I did not have growing up as a kid. I don't remember ever seeing this one in the stores, but I had a really good friend, and like kids do when they're younger, they go to each other's friend's house, they play wrestling figures, they order pizza, they play video games till the wee hours of the morning, and that's what I did with my buddy as a kid, and he had this figure, and I'd always look at it, and I'd always see it, and I guess, gosh, I really want this one. But I never did have it until all these years later. And what we're talking about is the LJN Vince McMahon figure at number 3. I love this figure. I just love what it represents. I love the iconic red suit, the blue pants. Just a fabulous figure. And one of the reasons I did not have this one, and I probably wouldn't have had this one, is as a kid, I did want this, but I always had other figures to get. And I don't know if you guys were a lot like me, but your announcers, your Mean Genes, your Vince McMahon, some of your managers out there, I'd always want the wrestlers first. And I would pick up these guys when I went to a store and I had all the wrestlers or they didn't have any wrestlers. That's when I'd get these. But I never did see the Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon announcer figure out at stores as a kid. Never did own this back in the day, and I just recently picked this up in the last couple of years. A minty loose one. I absolutely love this figure. And whenever I see this figure, it always brings me back to spending the night at my friend's house as a kid, playing video games, playing wrestling figures. So it does have a lot of memories to the past for me, and it's just a super special figure. And like I said, I love everything about this. This is Vince McMahon. This is 80s, early to mid 80s Vince McMahon when I close my eyes and think of Vince McMahon at this time. So absolutely love this one. I just wish we could get a Mattel updated version of this one. Better head sculpt, like the one in the blue, but give us the red jacket. This red jacket is just so iconic to me because of this figure. I would love a touch of the past brought into today with a Vince McMahon like this one. I think it would just be really cool, and it'd be a really great throwback to people of a certain age. So there it is, LJN Vince McMahon coming in at number 3. All right, how's your list coming? Are any of these guys in your top 5 Vince McMahon figures? Like I said, put it in the comments below, but we're at the final 2. We're right at the very end. And number 2 is a figure I have to think most people that are putting a list together will have this figure on here. This is a very strong Vince McMahon, and in a lot of you guys, maybe the number 1 Vince McMahon. This is one a lot of people wanted. There was a lot of clamoring for this one via Mattel. When we were trying to get figures out there earlier on. I mean, we're a lot of sets in with Mattel, but this was one people were screaming about they wanted from the get-go, and we finally got it, and we got it once again as a Toys R Us exclusive in the Network Spotlight series. That is Vince McMahon, World Champion Vince McMahon, of course. He's got his black shirt thing he wore when he won the title. Very weird, that big black shirt, but you can't take this off, and he's all ripped up Vince McMahon. Old Vince McMahon's just totally ripped to shreds. Been in the gym 1,000 hours. Comes with the world title belt. Like I said, this is a Network Spotlight exclusive to Toys R Us back in the day. Not some of the best packaging I think Mattel's ever done, but I always love those store exclusive sets. I love them today with the Target exclusive sets and the Walmart exclusive sets. Say what you want about availability and stuff like that. I just do feel there's a place for some of those exclusive sets. And Vince McMahon, this was one everybody had to get. This was a very popular one back in the day. Everybody was wanting this Vince, like I said. And they should. Great head sculpt on this one. I mean, it just screams those moments when he won the title, which just seems crazy at that Royal Rumble. But it is what it is. It happened. It happened, and it's represented in figure form right here. And this one is a really special one. Probably the best, or one of the best, wrestling Vince McMahon figures. And definitely my favorite Mattel Vince McMahon figure of all time. So coming in at number 2, Toys R Us exclusive, Network Spotlight, Vince McMahon. All right, here we are. We're at the number 1 spot. Any guesses to what my number 1 figure is? Or any of you guys scratching your head saying, wait, it's all been hit. What are we missing here? But they're missing a big one. And this, I feel, is the most iconic Vince McMahon figure ever. I just absolutely love this figure from the word go. When I first saw the prototype, as far as wrestling gear Vince McMahon, I find this to be the best Vince McMahon. The head sculpt I find to still be the best Vince McMahon figure after all these years. What figure am I talking about? I'm talking about Jax Classic Superstars, Series 22, Mr. McMahon. Love this figure. Just absolutely love it. His wrestling gear, he wore that long kind of singlet thing going on there. Just a fabulous figure. He's got the gray hair here, so he's a little older Vince McMahon. I do have a loose version of this one as well. I just think this sums up Vince McMahon in wrestling form to a T. He had that little grayish hair going on, jacked up, older Vince McMahon, but this face head scan for Jax is phenomenal. This is better than anything Mattel's ever done for Vince McMahon head sculpts. You guys can agree or disagree in the comments if you want. But I think this is the best head scan of any Vince McMahon figure that's ever been released. This was also released in a Jax Deluxe Aggression set later on after this one. So you could get this in the next size up. That one doesn't do a lot for me just because Deluxe Aggressions, they don't have the same magic as the Ruthless Aggressions or the Elites for me. But I know some people do really love those Deluxe Aggressions, and you can get this basically exact same figure in a Deluxe Aggression body style. But this was in the Classic Superstars line, and we always talk about a lot of these Classic Superstars. that it's didn't feel really classic at the time. It was only, you know, right in the wheelhouse. It wasn't so many years after this actually happened. But now, 20 years later, whatever it's been from when this debuted, this Vince kind of look, it is totally classic. And that's the beauty of this line. Like I always say, it's just didn't feel classic at the time. All these years later, it works. Just amazing. It's genius, and something I didn't think about when I was collecting as a kid, saying, or a younger guy. I guess I wasn't a kid. I was college age and out of college, but I didn't think that, you know what, these are going to be classic one day. They're not classic now, but they will be one day. I never thought that. It never crossed my mind until all these years later. But this Vince McMahon is absolutely phenomenal. I think you have to have this in your collection. Really cool is you can also put this in with your Mattels. It looks like it fits. It works. It's just a fantabulous figure, this Vince McMahon. And that is why he is number one on my list. This is one where I closed my eyes and I said, what's my favorite Vince of all time? This is the one that popped up to me. But like I said, this is a very tough top 5 list, as Vince has had so many figures over the years. And I think we forget about a lot of them, especially the Mattels. The Mattel ones kind of get lost in the dust, I felt like. Ruthless Aggression ones, we had 2 different ones in the suits. Of course, we had this one. We had the Vince McMahon from the Series 16 Classic Superstars, the Deluxe Aggression. There was a lot of Vince McMahons via the Jax days, and of course the LJN one back the day. And then you throw in the Titantrons, the one he came with, the actual Titantron play set or whatever, that Vince McMahon, and then you had a bunch of other ones. You had the one with the suit we talked about kind of at the beginning, a little bit of a jokey Vince McMahon. But then you had so many in the Bone Cruncher line as well. That announcer one we talked about, repaints and re-releases. So Vince McMahon, no shortages of figures. And I could see some people saying, how could you figure out a top 5 Vince McMahon? There's not even that many figures. But there's a way more than you would ever think there is. I mean, we could easily do a top 20 Vince McMahon figure. But boy, he's got some hot garbage figures. I'd say these top 5 are the creme de la creme. You guys tell me, though. That's what I want to know, is I want to know your top 5 Vince McMahon figures. And I want you to put them in order. That's the hard part. It's easy to rattle off 5 figures you like, but putting them in order is the tough part, and that's where the fun comes in. So make sure you put your top 5 Vince McMahon figures in the comments below. I get a lot of comments on these videos, of course. When are you going to do Hulk Hogan? When are you going to do Razor Ramon? When are you going to do Ultimate Warrior? We'll get to all of them. I mean, I'm going to do one of these a week. I don't want to pump one of these out every single day. We'll do one a week, but you got to do some of these top 5s. We got to flush it out. You got to have your Vince McMahons every once in a while. And like I said, I'm saving the heavy hitters like Hulk Hogan. Once we hit 9,000 subscribers on the channel, we'll do Hulk Hogan top 10. That's what we're going to do. And there's a lot of guys that I think really deserve a top 10. The Hulk Hogans, the Ultimate Warriors, the Undertaker, the Cenas, the Rock, the Rey Mysterios. The guys that have had so many figures over the years, those guys truly do deserve a top 10. I mean, John Cena alone's had like 200 and some figures. It's really tough to do a top 5 for him. And he's a popular character to a lot of people. We'll do a top 10 John Cena one of these days. And a lot of the other ones. But top 5s are great for some of these in-between ones, like Vince McMahon out there. Tommy Dreamer. I want to do a Tommy Dreamer top 5. I think he's got some sleeper figures out there. There's so many figures we could do. And we could also do top 5 LJNs, top 5 Hasbros, top 5 X-Men figures. I mean, there's really unlimited lists. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the notification bell on there, as we're going to have a different top 5 list every time. We'll have some sleeper figures that'll make us all out there think. And you'll say, wait a minute, is there even 5 figures of this one? And it's a little history lesson, some surprises for everybody as well. So it's very fun to do these top 5 lists. Like I said, every single Thursday we'll be dropping a brand new top 5. We're doing wrestling for now, but we'll branch out eventually. But there's just so many. I mean, I was kind of looking pen to the paper. There's years and years of videos we can do here. So we'll get to them all. Believe you me, all the heavy hitters you can think of, we'll be doing them. We're not going to miss anybody. It's just going to take some time. And that's the beauty of it. We can do one a week and go on. And then, like I said, asking you guys, put your top 5 Vince McMahon. Get some of your top 5 lists. Get ahead of it if you want. Get a notebook out and put your top 5s in so you're ready when we do get to those figures. But I appreciate all you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. You made it this far. Follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, of course, ProWrestlingTees.com. Support the channel. Pick up your very own See You Later t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. So there it is for the Vince McMahon Top 5. I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.